Welcome back, traders, for another backtesting session. We are in the second week of June, and this is going to be week 24. So getting close to halfway there on the year of 2024. Let's go ahead and get right into it. Please like this video and subscribe if you haven't done so already. So here, looking at the daily chart, I have it set to June 7th right now, but we're going to go ahead and do the 10th and the 14th on our backtesting. But looking at the daily chart, we see a pretty nice power of 3 last week. Here was Monday, we went up and came back down into this range. Now going into the 4-hour, I have this drawn out here. This is the fair value gap. We've dipped into it. You can see the bodies are respecting the upper part of that fair value gap. We could go into it one more time. I'm not opposed to it. I would like it to stay in the upper half though, and see if we can get a project or a bounce back up to the negative 0.5 standard deviation. So Monday morning, June 10th, I'm looking at the hourly chart. You can see, last week, Thursday and Friday had a lot of consolidation. We do have relative equal highs, although we did bump this high by just a little bit, came back down. I'm thinking we're going to go for this low to start off this week, and we'll see whether or not we get a bounce from this fair value gap on the 4-hour. If we do, then we could be looking for higher prices. Also, I want to keep an eye out on this 1-hour fair value gap here. Because if we start going into this fair value gap on the 1-hour and then we start seeing displacement on the 5-minute towards the downside, I will be looking to take a short, looking for the sell side below this low and this low. And then after we get into this 4-hour fair value gap, then we maybe have a bounce up for these relative equal highs. And then of course that projected target, the -5, I think that will go into play maybe sometime later this week. I'm thinking maybe like on a Wednesday or Thursday expansion. Well, let's go down into the 5-minute and see what we get at 8:30 and 9:30 this Monday morning. Okay, so far at 8:30, we started getting a drop down here. I wasn't expecting this. I thought we may be going up for these highs first, but it looks like we are going to be heading for the lows. I think we're going to take out the sell side for sure, and we'll see whether or not we take out this sell side once 9:30 hit. If we do, and then we start displacing up, I think that will be a good chance for a long, aiming for potentially the buy side here, or these relative equal highs up here, or just going back into that 1-hour SIBI. I think that's going to be a nice high probability trade, going at least into this 1-hour SIBI, and then we'll see what happens from here. Are we going to go above the SIBI, or will this SIBI start pushing price down? Maybe if we take out the sell side and then we go into the SIBI, we could go back to equilibrium for the rest of the day. Okay, so this is going to be a little bit after 8:30. You can see that we had a lot of choppiness at 9:30 right here at the 9:30 open, and then we went up above this high here. We could be going back above these relative equal highs, maybe going back into the 1-hour fair value gap SIBI. That could be the idea here. This was my original idea. We go for the buy side first and then dive down for the sell side. We even created relative equal lows here. So if we do take a short, this will definitely be a first partial final target here at this low. So we'll see if we do go back into this 1-hour SIBI, maybe get back above this high, and then we'll see if we start displacing lower from there. Okay, so a little bit after 11, we did rally back up into this 1-hour SIBI. Now I just want to see a setup for the downside. Although it is a little bit late, it's kind of getting close to lunchtime. We'll see whether or not we have a trade. Today could just potentially be a afternoon setup if we start developing a bearish market structure shift here. But let's just go ahead and see what the rest of the morning does. Okay, so that is it for my time window. It is after 12:15. We did go to the high of that 1-hour fair value gap, even wicking through above it. We'll take a look at what the rest of the day does, but I anticipate us dropping down for these relative equal lows. And of course, we do have another sell side low below us. We'll see whether or not, I think we may create relative equal high. That will be nice if we maintain a relative equal high, and then we can look for a long the next day. So here's the end of the day. Didn't really do too much. We had a drop down, a rally back up, but did not take out the high. Then we dropped down one more time for the low. Came back up, so it's pretty much sideways after the lunch period. All right, so Tuesday morning on the 1-hour chart, you can see that we did drop down after going into this fair value gap on the 1-hour. We pretty much balanced it. Now we dropped down. We took the sell side here below this low. Now I'm wanting to see whether or not we are going to pop up for the buy side or if we're going to go down for the sell side. I'm keeping my eye on this 1 hour imbalance right here within the 1 hour SIBI. So we'll see if this comes into play or not. If we do start going above it and I see it used as inversion, I'll be looking for the buy side above this high, and of course this, I believe this was the all-time high. But if we go back into it and then we start seeing displacement lower, of course, the sell side below here, these relative equal lows, and the sell side below this low. Okay, so consolidation from 8 o'clock leading up to 9:30's opening bell. So during this whole consolidation, just want to be patient, not really do anything. Like I said, I'm watching this 1 hour fair value gap. At 9:30, we did come up into this 1 hour SIBI within the larger 1 hour SIBI from the previous day. Now I want to see whether or not we're going to go above or below this SIBI. If we start displacing lower, I'll look for a fair value gap to enter short, aiming for this low and of course that low. But if we start going above it and using it as support, then I'll be looking for the buy side above these highs. Okay, a little bit before 10 o'clock, you can see that we had, well, pretty much going one candle up, one candle down. So this created a balanced price range. We're going down lower. We have a fair value gap here. Keeping my eye on this, I want price to come back into this. I don't think I want to really take it because the risk would be at 76. And if I enter here at 35, that'll be about 40 points. I mean, I could enter here, no problem. But I kind of want to see a confirmation fair value gap. I am aiming for these relative equal lows. This is going to definitely be the first target. If we start going down even further, this will be the second target. So I guess I'm waiting to see if price could come back up here. I think, yeah, let's go ahead and buy for it. I don't see any reason not to because we did come back into the SIBI and this looks like a pretty big move down. I think we're going to go lower. As long as we don't take out the sell side first, I'm going to enter a short here with my stop up here. I'm actually going to keep it here on the order block here because I mean it's going to be pretty close to this high anyways. I don't really want to see this overblock get overtaken. It'll be a shame if it does, but yeah, let's go ahead and use this as a short entry. Okay, a little bit after 10 o'clock, I did get into this trade, but because we closed above this fair value gap, this can be a little problematic. I hope I don't get stopped out, but there is a chance that we do. Since this drop, we took out sell side. And now if we start going above this high, looks like we could be going up for the buy side here. What I'm wanting to see is price drop. I don't want to see this fair value gap, the BISI get created. Instead, I want it, you know, just to overlap completely. Or if it does get created, I want to see price drive through it and not really go above it any longer. So we'll see if I get stopped out or not. Okay, and this is a little bit before 10:30, and yep, went ahead, got stopped out. Now I'm keeping my eye on this BISI. So if we start coming back into it, are we going to get confirmation? See, if we get confirmation on this fair value gap, that could lead me to take a long, aiming for those highs I was talking about earlier. Okay, here just before 11 o'clock, didn't really get any retracement back into this fair value gap. Price just went up and reused that 1 hour fair value gap. You can see price, the candles going above it, and then we used it as support, and that bounced us up for the buy side above here and here. Now, there wasn't really a good long setup. Going to the 15-minute, let's take a look at where we're at. I think we could go for these highs as well. We already took out both of these. Could be enough, but I'm wanting to see if I can get a setup for the higher high. That requires some retracement and another fair value gap for confirmation. But we'll see if that happens. It is getting kind of close to 12 o'clock or 12:15. So I may not be able to get into another trade today. If I do, I'm going to use half of my normal risk since I already took that earlier loss. So here at 11:25, we came back down through this fair value gap, and this is the third fair value gap that I have highlighted. We tapped into it. If we start going up higher, if we create a fair value gap, I'll look to enter that, and I'm aiming for this high. Remember that high back on the 15-minute was this previous relative equal high as well. So that is what I'm looking for on the 5-minute. 11:45, price drove lower back to that 1 hour fair value gap. I'm going to use this as support. If we are going to go into a long, I want to see price go above all this down movement here. Unless it does that, I'm not really interested in a long. I'm kind of thinking there's not going to be any more opportunities today. Only about 30 minutes left in my time window. I actually think price may come back down into this fair value gap, or we may just start just consolidating around equilibrium, looking for the afternoon action. Okay, so 12:15, my time window is done. No more trades today. We did come back into this fair value gap. I'm looking for price actually to drive down into this fair value gap, maybe over lunch, maybe in the PMS session. We'll take a look at what the end of the day looks like. So the end of the day, we just consolidated during lunch, and then in the afternoon, we rallied up, created a fair value gap, and then we came back, respected it, and then we went up higher through this. This was the all-time high, those relative equal highs. And now we are at all-time high once again. And looking at the 4 hour, you can see that we are driving up higher. Now I'm looking for price to go into this -5 standard deviation. And we'll see if we get any pullback for a setup in order to go for that. But my time is done for today. I'm gonna see what develops tomorrow morning pre-market. Okay, Wednesday morning, June 12th. You can see that after we rallied up a little bit higher, and we pretty much just consolidating here on the 1 hour. If you look back down here, this was the first 1 hour fair value gap, so I'm highlighting it. I'm actually going to duplicate it because I do see this other fair value gap on the 1 hour lower, and this overlaps with this order block as well, so this could be a little bit more important. But anyways, I'm looking for price to come back to one of these two fair value gaps, and then I want to see a bounce off of this for higher targets. Now on the 15-minute, you can see the consolidation. We do get like a rally up, taking out the buy side, coming back down, creating relative equal lows, consolidate a little bit more, and then we come and take the buy side again, just a little bit. It's taking buy side, but just slightly. But I'm looking at these relative equal lows. I think this is a good target for price to come down into. I'm not going to be able to take a trade unless I see a 5-minute setup here. But if we do go down, there is this 15-minute fair value gap, and of course the 1 hour fair value gap. We can go to either of those and even down into this lower 1 hour fair value gap. So just going to keep an eye on these as we go into 8:30 and 9:30. Whoa, okay, so at 8:30 there was some big news, I suppose. I guess the week after non-farm payroll, maybe this was CPI or something, we pretty much just rallied up like 200 points. Or to 150 or something. But yeah, it was a pretty big rally. I'm kind of giving up on the short ideas. I don't really think we're going to be retracing all of this up movement. I think what we're going to do is come back into this gap and maybe create a setup here and then rally up for even higher prices potentially, or we could just consolidate here in the middle of the range. We're gonna have to see what 9:30 gives us. Okay, so here at 9:30, you can see we pretty much just consolidated before 9:30. We did come down below this swing low, back into this gap, but we did not create a fair value gap here just yet. This leads me to believe that we could come down for this low one more time. I want to see another fair value gap to the upside. Maybe I'll take the first one, and my first target would be this new high of day. I want to see price drive up into it, and remember, I got that -5 standard deviation target. I want to see price go up for that. Okay, so not exactly what I was expecting. We did come down for the sell side. We rallied up and potentially creating a fair value gap here. So this could be something worth taking. I just don't really like how the risk is really high. If I have my risk down there and I have my entry up here, that's going to be like maybe 60 points of risk. It's a little much. Depending on where the fair value gap closes, I may try for it on 50% of this fair value gap. And if I do that, I think I'm just going to go with one contract or like half. I think one contract is going to be probably a little bit more than half my size. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and take a shot, one contract. We do have the other -1 standard deviation all the way up there. Don't think we're going to get there today, but we could start drawing up towards it. Okay, so this fair value gap did remain intact. We didn't come back down into it, I don't think. If I draw a line here, I don't really think we came down into this fair value gap. It came close, but didn't really get into it. Now, we start rallying up even higher. I feel like at this point, if I try to go long, I feel like I am chasing price. I want to wait for price to come down into this fair value gap. And I want to wait for it to give me some confirmation, because we could come back all the way down to take out the sell side and go back into this fair value gap. That would be a pretty disaster move, stopping us out. So I really want to wait for confirmation in this situation. Okay, so 11.15 price did come back down and it created this, well, compared to everything else, it looks like a small fair value gap. I'll highlight it so you can see, but I'm not exactly sure I like this one because we on this rundown, we didn't really take out any significant sell side. This one here, but it would have been much better if we take out this sell side, go back into this older fair value gap, and then we created another one. That would have been better. We'll see where this goes. I mean, I guess I could potentially try for this one. Like here, I could have, let's say, my long entry around 510, have my risk around 487. That will give me, what, 23 points of risk or so, which is not bad. But I don't really like seeing how, you know, we just continuously move higher. Now we're starting to pull back and we didn't take out any sell side yet. So I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait until we at least take out this swing low. Then we'll see what happens from there. Okay, so if we take a closer look here, this fair value gap did hold up. And we are creating potentially another fair value gap. So by putting my risk here, I could have an entry out here, depending on where the fair value gap closes in or gets created. Have my risk down here. I like how this candle right here closed above this small little civvy here. So if we do have a fair value gap here, I will go ahead and try and enter into this. It looks like it's gonna be about 30, I don't know, 35 points of risk. I'm gonna just go with one contract, depending on where the fair value gap closes. I want to be at the top of the fair value gap with my risk down here. Now, as for higher targets, I'm not exactly sure where I will have my higher targets here, but you know, that's not going to be 1-1. I think what I can do is do a smaller projection from this low this morning at 9:30 to this high. Man, I don't really like how we already reached -1 standard deviation. We could be reaching for -2. I'm not exactly sure. I think if I do go in here, I want to aggressively put my stop like up to break even as soon as possible, at least when we reach up above this high, because I'm not sure how high we can go. We could just poke above it and then start dipping down right away, but we'll go ahead and give it a shot with just one contract. Okay, it is a little bit after 11:30. You can see we did not create a fair value gap. It did close in. Could be an immediate rebalance, but that is not really what I'm looking for. I want to see a fair value gap. I want to see an imbalance. So gonna take off the trade. Nothing really excites me right now. I think the only thing that could get me into a long is if we come back, take out the lows below here, go back into this fair value gap, and then get a confirmation fair value gap, then I can go ahead and take a long. Otherwise, may not have any more trades for today. We are getting pretty close, only about 45 minutes left, so we'll just see how the rest of this morning develops. Okay, and that's pretty much it. That's the morning action, just consolidated here. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and just look at what the end of the day looks like. So here's the end of the day action. Pretty much just consolidation here. We did come back into this fair value gap. You can see how it reacted to 50% of that fair value gap. It tapped into it. Here, I'm gonna give you a closer look. We tapped right into it twice. Then we rallied up for the buy side. Then immediately dipped down, took out the sell side one more time. Remember, this was going to be my original stop. We never reached it, but whatever. After that, we did come back into here. Like here, you could have expected it to drop some more, but no, instead it just rallied back up for a new higher high. So I don't know, pretty difficult trading over here. Even back up here, you know, you could not really predict it. I think the only thing is if you were able to get in somewhere here only 1 minute, but of course, you know, my execution time frame is the 5 minutes. So just going to move on to the next day when we'll see if we have any setups in the morning. Still looking for higher prices, and maybe we can start reaching for that -1 standard deviation. Okay, so Thursday morning, June 13th. Looking at the 1 hour chart, there's no inefficiency. If you look all the way back here, this inefficiency was rebalanced. So I'm going to take this off. If we do start going down, we got to go for this low and going back into this large inefficiency that happened at 8:30. So this will be the first partial, but with no inefficiencies this low, we're going to go into the 15-minute to see if there's any potential. I guess we could come back into here. Okay, so here on the 15-minute, this was the sell side pointed out on the 1 hour. If you look a little bit closer, we do have a 15-minute fair value gap. And we do have some sell side below these swing lows here. So I could see price dipping down into this 15-minute fair value gap. And then if we start seeing a reaction from here, we could be looking for higher prices. I went ahead and did a projection from this low to this high. This is one standard deviation. Perhaps we could get a symmetrical swing going for this target. Of course, we are going to be aiming for the new all-time high. If we do get a setup, it has to come back down to this 15-minute fair value gap first, and then we start seeing bullish market structure. Okay, so at 8:30, price did come up for this buy side. So now that the buy side is taking, I'm not so sure if I want to go long. I feel like we could be going for sell side, namely these lows, this fair value gap. Again, when we go back into this fair value gap, I want to see how price reacts here. If we go through it, underneath it, and use it as inversion, then I'm looking for the sell side below this low and coming back into this inefficiency. But first things first, let's see what price does during this 15-minute fair value gap. And here, looking at the 5-minute, pretty much at 8:30, we immediately go up and immediately trade lower. So this could just be a stop hunt. That's what I'm thinking. And if we zoom out a little bit, I think on the 5-minute, we are going to be coming down for these relative equal lows, going for this 15-minute fair value gap. So there's a potential short. Not liking it very much. We'll see what it looks like as we get closer to 9:30. Okay, 9:06, and it looks like we potentially could have a fair value gap here. I kind of like how, we went up and down. So this is a balanced price range. I don't see any other inefficiencies up here, so I'm not really looking for price to go back into the balanced price range, and potentially we have a fair value gap. It does look like a relatively small risk. I could try and take something here if this fair value gap remains intact. That's the first thing, first of all. So with my entry here and my stop loss up here, looking for a short and maybe taking first partial below this low, and then looking for these relative equal lows. That could be a potential trade here. 25 to 40, only 15 points of risk. I could probably take at least 2 contracts, maybe even 3. I will take a look at the spreadsheet and we'll see if this fair value gap remains intact and whether or not we can get tagged in. Yeah, I think this is not too shabby of a structure to go for. Okay, so looking at the spreadsheet, you can see that, well, we took a loss yesterday, but with my entry and my risk here, I'm actually able to take about 4 contracts, staying close to that 1% risk, a little bit over, but I think I am going to go for it. I feel a little risky. I kind of like how we have this one up move and one down move, looking for this as a balanced price range. I'm expecting price to react pretty strong on this fair value gap if this fair value gap remains intact. If we don't get a fair value gap here, no trade. But I'm looking to take my first partial here. There should be 1-to-1, half my position, take another one off below here, and then I'm looking for, well, price to come back into this fair value gap on the 15-minute. And yeah, let's go ahead and see if this will work. I'm actually kind of thinking, since this is before 9:30, I'm wanting to see the volatility push price down for the sell side. Okay, so I did get into the trade. Looks like the fair value gap did remain intact at that price. 4 contracts in short. I might get stopped out here. I don't really like how this candle closed above the fair value gap. So we could be driving up a little bit higher. I don't see any inefficiencies here on the 5-minute, but there could be some on the 1-minute that it may be reaching for. Another option was I could have been more patient, waited for 9:30 to see how 9:30 reacts, but oh well, I'm in the trade. Let's go ahead and see how it develops. Okay, not so good. Did get tagged out. Maybe I could have, been a little bit less risky, only going half my position, but alas, I was pretty confident I was going to go for these lows. I'm still confident, even though we did take out this high right here. If we get another fair value gap to the downside, maybe I will consider taking it. But I kind of want to see price go up here a little bit now. There may be some small inefficiencies on the 1-minute. So I want to see price come up here and then create a fair value gap. If that happens, I'll consider taking a short for these lows down here. Okay, 10:15. Well, like I said, we did come back up into here, but man, look at this. It's very, very choppy. Finally, we get displacement to the downside. I already took out these sell side targets. Now, potentially, we could create a fair value gap here. I have to look for price to come back into here and then move down lower. Going to the 1 hour, what will be my next target? See, I don't see any inefficiency here. This is a 15-minute fair value gap. So the next 1 hour target will be all the way down here. So it could be worth taking, but I don't know. I already took out a loss this morning, and let's go ahead and get rid of these sell side targets that have already been hit. Don't really like that. Would have been better if we didn't hit those. But looking at here at entry at 98, this would be like 46 points of risk, which is quite a lot. And I'm not really excited to take the first fair value gap because all the sell side really got taken out here. Another option is I could go for 50% of this fair value gap and then put my risk at the top of this order block. Because we have all this back and forth movement here, this creates another balanced price range. So a balanced price range, balanced price range. I don't really want to see price go above through all of this. So I could have my risk here at the high of this order block. And then rather than taking it at the low of this fair value gap, because this is such a big range, I could end up taking at 50% of this fair value gap. Depends on where it closes, but this would be the most risk I would take. 613 to 637. That's actually not too bad. So I will consider entering short here. Of course, half my risk, so we'll see how many contracts that will be. I hope it'll be like 2. Okay, I did my mental math a little bit wrong. So this is going to be 23 points of risk. So only one contract, they'll put me at 0.4% risk. So I'm going to go ahead and give this a shot as my second trade. If I get stopped out here, then I'll admit defeat. Don't really know what this price is going to do today and just call it quits, at least for today. So remember, that's the rule. 2 losses, you're done for the day. Okay, and price never really came back for me. It did come back into the 15-minute fair value gap. So now that all the sell side targets got hit over here, the sell side here, and this is the 15-minute fair value gap, I'm not really excited on taking a short. What I want to see is price retrace back up into this fair value gap. And then if we can do that and have a setup here, then I will take the confirmation fair value gap as a short. But other than that, I'm not really excited to take another trade today. It's going to have to look really good for me to be able to get into another trade today. Okay, 11:45, we came back into this fair value gap after a long period of consolidation. We'll see if there's a displacement here. If there is a displacement, I would like to get short, but man, I don't really like how the time is getting close to 12:15. We'll see what happens. I kind of feel like this may be an afternoon setup, which is a little bit unfortunate. A lot of this recent price action seems like afternoon setups. So yeah, we'll just go ahead and see if we can get anything. Okay, here we are at 12:05, and we can potentially have a fair value gap here. Just gonna mark out the risk. I don't know if I'll take it. Maybe. It's going to be about 25 points of risk if this fair value gap remains intact. I'm going to go ahead and try for it. I feel like maybe we could have like a lunch move down lower. And of course, if we get below this low, I'm going to put it to break even. And I'm looking for price to come down here really quickly over lunch. If we start getting like slow movements, I may just cut it off before the PM session. Okay, so just before 12:30, never came back for me. Man, actually, entering here would have been nice over lunch, but you know what? I am done for the day. My time's over. It's a little unfortunate. Honestly, I got a little FOMO. I got a little, revenge trading mode today because I did enter into this fair value gap. It didn't work out, but the idea was there. We rallied up into here and then it just went and moved so quickly without me. I felt a little FOMO, felt a little revenge trading in me. Definitely not good. I even tried, to enter so close to my time window being closed that I'm not really proud of myself, not really proud of today. Even though I saw the moves, I called the moves, just did not have that perfect setup for me. Like this would have been pretty good actually if you tried to enter, let's say here at 601, have your risk up here at 637. I know about 35 points of risk, but you're looking for price to go down for the slow. Let's see if we get that by the end of the day. Okay, and thank goodness I went ahead and just decided to close everything down. I didn't touch anything. After this drop, it didn't go any lower, did not go for the sell side target. We just slowly climbed up and now we are above this high. We're back into this fair value gap that was created early in the morning at 10 o'clock. And yeah, we'll just go on to the next day, see what's going on. Unfortunately, this week has not been too great for me. Took 2 losses, but we'll see if we can recover some of those tomorrow, being the last day, Friday. Hopefully we get something, but you know, Friday I don't expect too much. So Friday morning, 8 o'clock, and looking at the week's price action, we have Monday here, then a big rally up, and we consolidated here. So already you can see the power 3 already played out. Now there is something called TGIF, where I'll just go ahead and draw out a regular Fibonacci here, going from this high to this low, where price is going to retrace about 20 to 30%. And 20% will be about here, 30% will be about here. So somewhere in this range, you can see it already happened. So I'm not really expecting too much today. The only thing is we could come down and take the sell side, but you know, with price on the higher time frame being bullish, I don't really care. I mean, we did create relative equal lows here. I think maybe taking out these lows will be more higher probability rather than going for these. So I'm going to go ahead and take this 15-minute fair value gap off. I don't really think it's relevant anymore. Basically looking for these relative equal lows. I do have a 1 hour fair value gap here. We'll see whether or not that holds price down. If we do get a sweep of the lows and we start seeing displacement up, I guess we can try go for the all-time highs once more time and maybe go for this -1 standard deviation projection. Remember that was off of, what was it? It was off of, hold on. Now I remember on the 15-minute, it was from this low to this high, and that will give us this -1 standard deviation. But who knows if we're going to hit that this week. We may just have the high on Thursday, and we may just close within the weekly range. Okay, so on the 5-minute, 8:30, we dug back into that 1 hour fair value gap, and we'll wait until 9:30 to see what it does here. Are we going to go above it, or we're going to stay below it? Okay, 9:45. So far at the 9:30, we did rally, and now we're currently above this fair value gap. So this could turn into inversion. Okay, so I went ahead and turned this fair value gap orange. Here's 50% of it. If we can remain in the upper 50%, and we see, you know, like support on the midpoint or something, we could use it as inversion for a run up for this high. This is not the all-time high, but it is the next partial. We could go for up here eventually, but we'll see what happens here. I want to see a nice bullish setup. Okay, so we could have a potential setup here. Okay, so this is what I'm looking at. We ran up above this 1 hour SIBI. It could be used as inversion. You can see that this fair value gap, well, I guess it is already created since this candle's done forming. So we could have an entry here long, and with my stop, I kind of don't like how it's so close to the midpoint, but at least it's below the midpoint of the fair value gap. So we could be like looking for price to come back into this fair value gap and using this 1 hour fair value gap as inversion, bouncing price up for the high. Gonna go ahead and try for this. You know, we did close above the fair value gap. We created a fair value gap above this SIBI. So gonna go ahead and take a shot here. And with 84 to 19, that's actually going to be like 36 points of risk. So going to probably just stick with one contract here. You could even lower your risk a little bit by having it at the top of that fair value gap, but I'm just going to go ahead and stick with the model. The model is we have a sweep of liquidity here, then we can see a fair value gap, and then we see a confirmation fair value gap. So this could have been, I just didn't like how it created relative close, so this could have been an entry, but waited for 9:30, we rallied up. And I'm kind of thinking that we're not supposed to go below this fair value gap anymore since we are already above it. Looking for the buy side up here. Okay, so a few minutes after, got tagged in. And like I said, you could have lowered your risk by having it at the high of the fair value gap. Now, I don't want to see price go below 50% of this fair value gap. It would be such a shame if it does wick through and stop me out, and then we run for the target anyways. So don't really like it. Now what you could do is go to the 15-minute and see what's going on here. You can see we have a 15-minute fair value gap. So what you could do is wait for price to come into this 15-minute fair value gap and then give you a confirmation on the 5-minute, maybe have a confirmation fair value gap. But I guess I'm being a little risky here today. I kind of still feel a little, I don't know, a little impulsive, a little FOMO from yesterday. But at least it's one contract. If I take a loss, then I'll look for another setup, but will feel pretty bad, but I don't know. I really feel like we're gonna go for this high. So let's just go ahead and see if this works out. Man, it came so close to stopping me out. Really nervous if this happened. I mean, I don't like having my stop close to the middle of the fair value gap. It'd be better if it was like at the lower 25% or at the low of the fair value gap. But I mean, I'm hoping this little tap here is going to confirm that this fair value gap is inversion. And I want to see another confirmation fair value gap. If that can happen, maybe able to move my risk up, maybe able to add into it, but it's got to run from here. I don't really want to see price go down anymore. I mean, if it does, it's going to stop me out. So, okay, I like seeing this rally. We rallied up above all this down move. There's a change to the state delivery. There's actually another fair value gap here, so you could try to add in here, but you know, it's already so close. I don't want to really risk it. This could just be a short little stop hunt before coming back down below this fair value gap. It's not good enough where I can move my stop to break even, but it's also a little too much. I don't think I could add to it here either, because my risk will still have to be pretty close down here, and if I do 2 contracts, it's gonna be like 1.6 or sorry 1.2 R. So I'm just going to stick with the 1. Hopefully we get a stab up here and we take it off in the next few minutes. This is like one of the worst feelings, you know, you go up, we take out this high, and then we pretty much retrace all the way back down. I'm pretty confident that I'm going to get stopped out today. I was looking for these highs. If you look at the 15-minute, let's see if we, I mean, it looked pretty good to me, but unfortunately, I think we may be stopping me out. We may be coming back into this fair value gap, and then we may have a potential setup again. If we do have another setup, I'll try one more time, but could have just been safer. Took it off above this high. Would have missed out on potentially like 13 points, and I would have had like a little bit worse than 1-on-1. But oh well, it is what it is. Sometimes these things happen. Okay, and the next minute got stopped out here. Have a fair value gap here. I want to see price use it as inversion. Just going to give it a few, well, I guess I still got like maybe an hour and a half left, so just going to keep watching it, see if we can get another setup. Okay, so this is going to be my last shot of the week. I've already recorded my losses. Unfortunately, this week has not been so well. We've taken a bunch of losses here. So I'm going to have my entry here. Stop loss is going to be at the low of this order block right here. And taking a closer look, we actually have a potential small little fair value gap here. I'm going to keep it down here for now, and if it does close or create this small little fair value gap, I guess I can move it up here, but it's going to be a lot of risk. I'm not sure if I could even take this one. Let me go ahead and check the spreadsheet. Okay, so yeah, I definitely can't take it up here, and with this risk, I could take it here. It's going to give me about what is it, 0.64% risk, so it's a little bit over 50%. And actually, I'm not sure if I took this trade here. I marked it as a stop out, but I'm gonna have to rewind the tape and look. I think this was a trade that got canceled because the fair value gap didn't develop or something. But anyways, 0.64. You know what, I'm gonna try it. I really do feel like it's respecting this fair value gap now. With this run down here and with this rally up, it kind of makes me feel like this was a stop hunt. Remember, it went back into a 15-minute fair value gap. This fair value gap here got traded through. It closed twice above it, so we'll see if we even get this trade. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and take one contract, see if I can recover some from this week, and yeah, let's see. Okay, so with this in the trade, risk down here, looking for price to come up here. That should be a little bit better than 1-on-1. We'll see if we can get a respect on this wick. It is a rather large wick, so I want to keep an eye on 50% of it and see if we will get a bounce off that. If we do, then that'll kind of be another like algorithmic key signature telling me that we are on the right track. Don't really like the choppiness here. Okay, this week not going well. Consolidation here. You know, this could have been a clue saying like, hey, I'm spending too much time here, but it was consolidating at the high of this fair value gap. I'm still looking for it to be inversion, but I don't know, it may not work out. We may get stopped out one more time. It really needs to turn around here. This fair value gap cannot form. Got a feeling I may get stopped out one more time, and if that happens, this will be one of the weeks where I take all losers. A little unfortunate, but let's just see. Okay, 2 strikes, I'm out. Done for the week. Bunch of losers. I still gotta check on this trade. I don't think that one actually made it through. This is on the 13th. But yeah, go ahead and record this as a stop out. And I'm gonna assume that this trade did not make it through, and you can see we have negative 400 on the week. Not very good, but at least we're still above that 10,000 that we started with here. We're at 11,390, or a little bit more, because I don't think this negative 49 counts. So, but either way, not a good week. Thank you all for joining me for another backtesting session. Wasn't the best one this week, but yeah, I don't know. Just trying my best. Maybe I need to be more patient. Maybe I need to like review my model and just remember what it was, because I feel like I'm using a lot of stuff that I would normally use in my trading, but not really following the model. I don't know. Let me know, guys, if you think I'm straying away from what I'm supposed to do. Anyways, please like and subscribe, and I will catch you guys next time. And until then, safe trading.